And then here we go. Class 3.
Woo woo. Blair, I thought you were going to have your hair all done up so we could see that new style that you had. That was a total lion when I saw that. I was like, damn, that is a
Felt that way.
lioness.
I know. I worked out and then I've just been in it. So next time.
Next time. All right. So on this call, we're going to go over breaking down all of your lion goals. And then we're going to go over my favorite thing, which is your lion board. So it's a twist on a vision board. And I think it is probably the most powerful tool that I personally use. And so I'm super excited for all of you to create one and start using it and go from there. So the first thing that I want to do is get a little sharing in. So if you want to share what's been going on the last week, you could share anything about your lion and your sheep, what you've realized, maybe a situation came up where your lion won or your sheep won and what you learned from that, or when it came to choosing your goal, what came up for you with that? Did you change your goal? Did your sheep try to talk you out of a goal? So anyone that wants to share on that, you can just unmute yourself and start talking. And someone has to.
I'll go.
All right, Lindsay.
My sheep tries to talk me out of everything, I've noticed. And I've been, my lion has been overpowering it a lot lately. Even just to sending messages to, new customers or just, bringing things up that I normally wouldn't do. I always tend to, hold back things, but I found myself, just letting it go. My lion talks my sheep out of it. So I just I've been a lot more confident in a lot of things since it's been brought to my attention. It's been amazing.
That's great. Have you noticed what the biggest thing is that your sheep tries to talk you out of with your business?
Just talking to people, more or less anything, the one-on-one kind of thing. The personal messages, even today, it was sending personal messages about something that I've been consistently talking about. But I'm my sheep is you've been posting about this constantly. They've seen it. And then it's but my lion's but I didn't actually ask them personally to do this with me. So it really overcame that. And I sent a ton of messages that normally I would be too scared to do.
Nice. And what you'll notice is as you keep doing that, as you keep overcoming that fear, it'll just get easier and easier. And at some point, there's going to be the shift that happens where there's literally no fear. And you're going to look back and say, why in the world was I scared of this? And you realize it was just purely your sheep just talking smack and trying to hold you back. Every time you overcome your sheep and you take action, what is the feeling that you get from that?
I can't even explain. It's just so relieving, a weight lifted off my shoulders every time I actually follow through and do something that I really want to do, but I've been holding back with.
That's great. You're making the transition. That's the feeling that you're feeling is taking off the sheep's clothing and revealing the lion. So
it's crazy because how you can just feel it happening. It's amazing.
Wow. Exciting. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing. We will have one more person share before we get started. So anything that's come up, anything that you've realized, even anything that you've struggled with when it comes to being your lion over your sheep or creating your goal or anything like that.
I'll go.
Okay.
So I just talked to you earlier today. I remember when you were asking, pick something on your lion's side that you want. And I immediately, my gut was events. I want to get people to events. And then it must have been my sheep. I was I better pick the $4,000. That would make me successful. I should pick that. So then I was going with that and I was going to go live and I just didn't feel right. And so then I was okay, I'm going to reach out to you just to see, what you think. And then it was my sheep trying to tell me, no, don't do that. But I've already got 4 people now going to the event with me, just going by what, and it feels natural. It doesn't feel like I'm faking it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
it feels right.
And your goal was 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
And you've already got 4?
Yes.
Oh, it's time. You need to remake a goal and do a new video.
I know, right?
Because that,
I was just
that's,
thinking of that. I was like, yeah, I probably better up it.
Yep. Yeah, you better, of course. But you bring up a really good point, because there's a massive difference between want and should. So when you got that inner intuition, that gut instinct, like, I talked to this about you, but what I'm really teaching is spirituality. So your sheep is your ego or your mind, and your lion is your soul or your heart. And so your heart works from intuition and from gut instinct, and that just inner knowing that we have. So when you had that initial knowing of, I want to do events, that was your heart speaking to you, that was your soul speaking to you, that was your lion. And then what happens, because that's a desire, it's an inner desire, there's something about doing events that you might not even understand or know yet that is really going to draw you to it. There's some gift there for you, or there's something inside of you where you're just born for something like that. But then what will happen is, that's what you want to do. That's what your lion wants to do. So there's that desire. And then what comes in after that is the should. And you even said, my sheep said I probably should do this so I can make money and look successful and all this kind of stuff. So anytime there's a should, anytime you say to yourself, I should do this, it's your sheep talking to you. Versus I want to do this. When there's a deep desire, that is your lion speaking to you. That's your true self speaking to you. It's not your ego. It's not what you've been trained to believe. I should pick income because I should make a certain amount of money, because I should look successful, and I should do this, I should do that. Because then what happens is you start living your life from a place of should, which is not your life. It's not your authentic life. Versus when you start living a life from what you want to do, that desire that's deep inside you, that's innate, that is intuitive, when you start living from that place, that's when you'll start to see things start to connect, and they start to click. And there's a lot less resistance. When you do something that you want to do, there's no resistance. When you do something that you think you should do, there's a massive amount of resistance, which is why so many people, when they create goals, they fail, because they're creating goals that they think they should have based on books they've read or what someone else told them, not goals that they really want to achieve, not goals that really excite them. And so then they'll work their butts off to achieve this goal. They achieve it, and then there's this emptiness that's in there, because they were chasing a goal that came from their sheep, not their lion. So there's no fulfillment there.
And that's exactly how I felt, Chris. As soon as I said, oh, I should do the 4,000, my belly was just like, oh, I don't even like that. But that's what I thought I should do. So, but yeah, then once I talked to you and I was like, no, I want to do 5 to 6 people to the event. I felt, I don't know, empowered, and basically what my lion, confident. I was happy.
Yes. And that's the most important thing. Like, how you feel right now is way more important than any goal that you achieve. What I believe, it's not the truth, but what I believe is that how you feel right now is literally the most important thing in our lives, because it's the only thing that we get to truly experience right now. You could work towards success and all these different things, but if you're not enjoying the process, then the end result is just a waste. And so it's like, when you follow your heart, you'll start to see that it actually makes you happy when you follow your heart. When you follow your head, that's when the negativity comes. That's when the suffering comes, because you're not in alignment with who you truly are. You're listening to the mask. You're listening to what society told you should do, not what you actually want to do. And when you start to choose your goals and your actions in alignment with your lion or your heart, you start to become more yourself, and you'll start to see, you use the law of attraction. You start to line things up, and it starts to become really easy to achieve that thing, because you were born to achieve it. And so it's like, it's no accident that all of a sudden you choose that 5 or 6 people, and then you already have 4. And it's like, okay, if you already have 4, and we haven't even started yet, by the way, we don't even start till January 1st. So you're like 80% to your goal, which means now you want to start to look at, and have your lion start to look at, okay, if I just did that before we even started, then maybe instead of my goal being 5 or 6, maybe it should be 15 or 20. Because that's you're capable of 100. If you really went all out and you really were your lion, and you were in this state of, happiness and joy, and you were excited about it. The numbers, who knows? It could be 100. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because you want to choose a goal that excites you. That's why I said, when you guys go through this, read through and which one connects with your heart, which one inspires you the most, because it sucks working towards a goal that you're not excited about.
Right.
Right? It's like having a job that you hate. You're not excited to go into work because you need to spend 8 hours working at something you hate. It's the same thing with your goal. If you pick a goal that you're not excited about, that you're not in love with, then you're going to spend the next 90 days doing something that you hate, and the odds of you achieving your goal are very, very low. So that's why it's so important to follow that intuition. And now that you've done it and you had the courage to do it, now look, you've already got 4 people. So that's awesome. Great job. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, great. So we will get started. So let's see here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to break down your goals. So you all created your Lion goal for the first 90 days of 2020. Now we want to actually break it down into an actionable piece and plan. So the way we do that is we look at your 90-day goal, and what we're going to do is we're going to break it down monthly. We're going to take that and we're going to break it down weekly, and then we're going to take your weekly and break it down daily. And if anyone is familiar with setting goals and achieving goals, the way you always want to backtrack, you want to be able to create your goal and then backstep all the way to exactly what do I have to do on a daily basis to guarantee that I achieve that goal, or get me as close to that goal as possible. Because what will happen is your sheep will obsess, how do I get 10 new distributors on my team? And it will obsess on that, that's step number 20, that's day number 90. And if it can get you to obsess about day number 90 and how you can't get from 1 to 90, then it's going to stop you from even trying. But if we can go from, instead of day number 90, we go from day number 1 to day number 2 to day number 3, and we create this kind of staircase, by the time we get to day number 90, you'll be looking down like, wow, I did that and it wasn't really that difficult. And so that's why we want to create this, this breakdown and this kind of plan of action to make it really, really easy to achieve your goal. So the way we do this, it's super simple. So you're going to take your 90-day goal, and what you're going to do, because 90 days is obviously 3 months. So to break it down monthly, you're going to take your 90-day goal and you're just going to divide it by 3. So let's say your 90-day goal was 9 new distributors. So if you did that and you divided that by 3, then it would be 3 new distributors per month that you need to bring on. Okay, so super simple. And you guys can write this down, and if you want, you can do it after the call, because it's going to be recorded so you can watch it over again. So that's your monthly. Okay, so now we've broken it down to a smaller chunk that's easier to achieve. So now we've gone from 9 to 3. And already your mind or your sheep is going to be like, okay, that's more believable. Even I can maybe believe that we can get 3. So then what we want to do is we want to break it down to another level. So now we're going to do weekly. So you're going to take that monthly goal and you're going to divide it by 4, since there's 4 weeks in a month. Okay, so super simple. So then if you do that, then, if your monthly goal is 3 new distributors, you divide that by 4, then maybe it's like 0.75 or something. So you don't even have to bring on 1 new distributor a week. It's, one, close to 1 every like 10 days or something. But you want to break it down to weekly. And this is where you want to start to get into the actions that you might have to take in order to do that. So how many phone calls, and you guys all know this, better than I do because it's your business, but how many phone calls do you need to make a week, to bring on 3 new distributors a month? How many new people do you need to meet? How many messages do you need to send? How many Facebook posts do you need to do? And this is where you can start to really get into the strategy of your own business. And the great thing is, if you've never tracked your numbers before, then this is a great, great place to start. Because, I've been in sales for 12 years. I built tons of sales teams and all that kind of stuff. And everything is a numbers game. A lot of sales comes down to, ability and all those different things. But what it really comes down to is just numbers. It's a numbers game. Everyone has their numbers. They know, okay, if I call 10 people, one of them's going to buy. For some people, if they call 5 people, one of them's going to buy. So what you want to start to look at is, if it's new distributors, how many new people do I need to talk to in order to get 1 to come on board? And if it's like, every 10 people you talk to, 1 comes on board, and that your goal this month is 3 new distributors, then that means you need to talk to 30 new people in the month. Okay, so you can start to do these numbers and start to break them down into actionable items. So we have weekly and then we have daily. So then you're going to take your weekly actions and then divide it by 7, and then you get your daily. And this is like the bare bones. This is just all you need to do on a daily basis to be able to hit your goal. And you know that if you do this one thing every day, you know, if you reach out to 5 people a day, or if you introduce yourself to 3 new people a day, then you know that 90 days from now, you will either achieve your goal or surpass your goal. But what we're doing, this is called chunking down. So chunking down, what that does is that allows your mind to make it a lot more believable, because we need your sheep to kind of be on your side. Because if your sheep and your lion are working together, then you have an insane amount of energy and power going towards your goal. So this is the way that we get your sheep on board, is we chunk it down into an area where your sheep actually says, okay, that's believable. You know, your sheep might say, I don't believe that you can get 9 new distributors on your team, you know, in the next 90 days, but I believe that you can talk to 3 new people a day. So we're kind of bypassing your sheep's doubt that it creates and that it, you know, imposes on you by breaking it down into really, really small, manageable chunks. And when we do that, you can actually, you know, you can control how many new people you talk to every day. You can't control how many people come on your team, but you can control how many people you actually speak to. And when you focus on what you can control, then you become much more empowered. Then your sheep believes in this a lot more. And then you have all this energy going in the right direction. So this will be part of your homework this week, is to look at your goal, and you're going to break it down monthly, weekly, and then daily. You know, what are the action items that I actually need to do on a daily basis, that if I do that every day, that'll lead to this result every week, which will lead to this result every month, which will lead to this result in 90 days from now. So when you do that and you create this plan of action, it becomes very, very believable. And that is one of the most important part of creating one of these goals, is you want it to be believable. Because the easier it is for you to believe it, the easier it is for you to achieve it, because there's not this conflict in your head. So if you obsess about, okay, you know, 9 new distributors, but you don't have an actual plan of action, then there's this missing gap where that's where the belief exists, the how. And if you don't have that planned out, then it's going to be much harder for you to actually create it. Okay, so who has any questions or comments on this? It's pretty simple, but I just want to make sure that everyone is clear on how to break this down, because this will be a really important aspect of your goals for the next 90 days. So if you have a question or anything like that, you can just unmute yourself and ask away. Nothing. Okay, great. So it's super simple. Like I said, you can write this down, and then you could do it this week, because that'll be part of your homework, is breaking your goal down from 90 days to a daily basis. What actions do you need to take to make sure that you achieve your goal? So that is super simple, but it'll be very, very empowering, and it will give you something to focus on a daily basis. One thing that you need to do every day that will bring you one step closer to your goal. And then by the time you know it, you do that for 90 days. And for most of you, you will have either achieved or blown your goal away. You know, like for you, Clarissa, you know, if your goal is 5 or 6 people, you know, if you introduce yourself to 2 new people a day, or talk to 1 person a day about the business, and you do that for the next 90 days, 5 or 6 is going to be a joke, you know, getting that many people to events. You know, if you talk to 1 person a day about one of the events, you talk to 90 people, you will absolutely crush that number. So for some of you, when you actually break down these numbers, you're going to say, oh, you know what? My goal is actually kind of ridiculously small, because I could do this easily. I could talk to 1 person a day. That's nothing. And if I talk to 90 people, I know that at least, you know, 15 are going to say yes. And so then you can start to adjust your goal based on that. But you're going to make it more believable, and then you become more empowered. You're like, dang, you know, what I thought was a big goal, which was 5 or 6 people to events, is actually like, that's super small. I could get 25 people to these events if I chose to be my lion and just have 1 conversation a day. And that's where you start to realize what you're really capable of. That's when you start to tap into your potential of what's actually possible. And that's when this whole philosophy in your whole life starts to get really exciting, because then you start to have a different level of belief in yourself and a different level of belief of what's possible. So cool. So that will be part of your homework. We'll go over that at the end of the call. So my favorite part, what we are going to go over now are your lion boards. So I'm sure a lot of you have, or most of you have heard of vision boards. You know, you create your goals, a vision for your life, you cut out pictures, you do all that kind of stuff. So this is a different version of a vision board. And other than the actual blueprint, this is the most powerful tool that I've ever used or ever tried or come across in personal development, which is why it's super exciting and super powerful, which you'll all see why. So in order to create your lion board, what you're going to do, there's only 2 steps, so it's super simple. The first step is you are going to find a picture of your sheep and a picture of your lion. So I want you to go back through your pictures, and I want you to find a picture of a time when you were being your sheep. So a time where you were holding yourself back the most, or a time when you were really stuck in life, or a time where you were really down, or you weren't in alignment with who you really were. And I want you to find that picture. And so here's an example of my picture. Every time I see it, it makes me freaking cringe. So this was me 4 years ago, 255 pounds, completely miserable. I mean, you could just see the misery on my face. I was just like in total sheep mode. I had my company, but I hated it. You know, I was eating horribly. I wasn't taking care of my life. I didn't have any goals. I didn't have anything like that. And so, and I see this picture and I look at that and it's like, who was that guy? But that's me when I was holding myself back. That's when my sheep was in complete control of my life. Okay, so I want you to go back and look through your pictures, and I want you to find that picture. And it's the picture that when you see it, it feels like someone just punched you in the gut. It like almost takes your breath away. Like I'm embarrassed to even look at this picture. It just makes me feel so uncomfortable. And that's exactly what you want, because we want to associate a massive amount of pain with being your inner sheep. So go through your pictures and you'll know the picture when you see it, because it will smack you in the face. Now, for those of you where you might not have a picture of yourself in that mode, then you can find another picture of someone else online that gives you that same kind of feeling. You know, maybe it's a picture of someone in the same situation at a certain weight, or they're living in a certain kind of apartment, or they're driving a certain kind of car, or they're in a certain city, or whatever it is. You can find a picture that really resonates with who your inner sheep was. So that's the first step to the first part of your lion board. The next step is to find a picture of your inner lion. So go through your pictures, and I want you to find a picture of one time when you were being the most badass version of yourself. One time when you felt totally alive and connected to who you were. And I want you to find that picture, and find that picture where when you see it and you look at that picture of yourself, it inspires you, it empowers you. You know, it gives you power, and it makes you excited that that's who you actually are. So this is a picture of me when I was in Bali a couple months ago. And I had just done a talk where I launched the Badass Blueprint. That's when I met Blair. I launched it, and I went up there on stage, and I just followed my heart. My sheep wanted to have a plan. I didn't have a plan. I just spoke from my heart, and I just completely flowed with it, and I loved it, and it was super powerful. And then I actually launched this thing to the world. And after that, I really was in my lion mode, and I went shopping for clothes with my 2 friends, and we went into this store, and I was like, I just want a lion outfit. It's like I wanted to buy something that my lion would be excited to wear. So we go into this store, and we find this outfit, and I try it on, and I walk out, and we're all just like, that's it. And I remember when I walked out and I saw myself, and I was like, my lion is so ridiculous and fun and just fully self-expressed. Like, I've always dressed crazy, but I never did in Bali or in Thailand. And when I tried it on, it was just like, yep, this is it. And I thought the only thing that's missing is a gold chain, because I always used to wear a gold chain to events and all that kind of stuff. And so, so that was like, this is my lion outfit. And when I look at the price tag, it was like $170. And I've never spent, I mean, I've spent more than that on a suit, but never on like an actual outfit. And so, and in Bali, that's crazy expensive for clothes. Like that's ridiculous. That's for some people, that's a month of rent in Bali. But when she told me the price, my sheep was like, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. But my lion was like, you're worth it. And it's not about the price. It's about how it makes you feel. And it's the same thing with this picture. It's not about the picture because it's not for anyone but for you. It's about how that picture actually makes you feel. And so, and you can see the comparison. The thing is, you want to see the contrast between the two. You know, the person on the left, he's just beaten and broken down, total in sheep mode. The guy on the right is full of confidence. He's fully self-expressed. He doesn't give a shit about what anyone else thinks. He's just bold, and he's just, you know, he's doing his thing. And he knows, look on his face as he's like, I've got this. The look on the other guy's face is like, oh, help me. You know, so you want to be able to see that contrast. Okay. If you have any questions, because we're going to move to the next section, you can unmute yourself and ask if you have any questions about finding the picture of yourself. Okay. So that is the first portion of your lion board. So you're going to have a picture of your sheep and you're going to have a picture of your lion. So the next thing that you're going to do, the second step, is you're going to find a picture of your sheep future and you're going to find a picture of your lion future. So find a picture of your sheep future and a picture of your lion future. So you're going to go online and you're going to Google and find a picture that aligns with your future. So when I did my future for my sheep, you know, I wrote down health and what I'd be doing for work and finances and all that kind of stuff. Then this is the picture that I found. So I wrote that I'd be like 255 pounds or 300 pounds. I would be, you know, eating badly. I wouldn't be successful. I wouldn't be like speaking and doing all that kind of stuff that I wanted to do. And I saw this picture. And when I saw this picture, it was like that gut punch. It was like, wow, that picture, it just killed me. Even looking at it now, it still kills me because it's like perfect. It's like, here's this guy who's talking a big game, but he's not backing it up. He keeps saying he's going to lose the weight, but you can notice he's got a treadmill in the background. But, you know, the treadmill, obviously, he's not using it. And he's got 3 cans of Mountain Dew, like, on his little TV tray. And this guy in his picture, he's, like, yelling at his iPad. For me, it'd be me yelling at my iPad because I'm watching YouTube videos of my friends who've, like, taken off in the personal development world. And I'm, like, shouting, like, oh, that should have been me. That's not fair, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I'm just living in this world of blame. And I'm just a total sheep. And so that is my sheep future. So when I see that picture, again, it creates a really strong negative emotional reaction, which is exactly what you want. So you're going to go online and you're going to find a picture, that one single picture that reflects your sheep future. And that's the picture that you want to take. And that's the picture you want to use. Okay. And so then the last picture that you're going to find, because there's only 4 pictures on the entire board, is your lion future. So you've got your sheep future on your left and the lion future on the right. So on the right, this is my lion future. You know, I want to be on stage. I'm going to be speaking to thousands of people. I'm going to be inspiring people. I'm going to be building the largest personal development brand in the world. You know, millions of people are going to be having the blueprint. They're going to start being their lions. They're going to be all of that kind of stuff. And so you can see these 2 futures are completely different. And for all of you, you should have this kind of contrast with your lion and your sheep. And so now you have a picture of your sheep future, a picture of your lion future. And so this is what the board consists of. It's only 4 pictures. So there's a lot of boards that have, you know, 20 pictures, 30 pictures, all that kind of stuff, which is great. But these boards are really designed for focus, because the more pictures you have, the more it splits up your focus, and the less focus you have, the less power you have going towards it. So this board is only going to have 4 pictures on it. And the whole purpose of this is one single purpose, which is to empower you to choose to be your lion. This board will help you make choices more than probably anything that you have ever used before in your life. And so you take this and you put it into an actual piece of paper and you print it out. So here is my actual printout of the same thing. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take those 4 pictures and you can print them out and cut them and put them on a board if you want. If you want to get fancy, you could do it in Photoshop if you know how to use that. If you don't know how to use Photoshop, you can go to Fiverr.com, Lerr.com, and you can pay someone $5 and they will put this together in Photoshop for you. But this is a tool that it will help you so much with making choices, because what you'll start to realize as you go through this process and use this philosophy is you're choosing the future you're living into, and you're choosing the person that you're going to be. It's not about the goals. It's not about what you achieve. It's not about your lifestyle. It's about who you choose to be and the future that you choose to live into. So when I look at this, I see, okay, I get to choose every single choice I'm making. I'm either choosing to be the left side, my sheep, or the right side, my lion. Every single choice I make. And on the left side, I made it all black and white because it is just a dark, it's just, there's no life, there's no color in that future, and there's no color in that person. And so I see that, and that motivates me and pushes me massively to face my fears, to have the courage to do the things that scare me, to do the things that I, might think I can't do, whatever it is. And then I look on the right side, and it's like, it just is constantly programming in my mind that I have a choice. Because I think one of the biggest issues in the world right now is people don't realize that they actually have a choice. That the exact life you are living is the result of all the choices that you've made in your past. And your future is going to be a direct result of all the choices you're making right now. And so when you have something like this, this will empower you like crazy to start making choices in alignment with your lion. So if some of you make phone calls to call people to invite them to events or do whatever, you put this next to the phone when you're calling, and it will take your calls to a whole different level. You'll do a lot more calls, and when you're on the phone, you'll ask the question that you might be scared to ask. You might be more bold. You might be more confident because you realize, okay, who am I going to be on this call right now? Am I going to be my sheep and live into that sheep future? Or am I going to be my lion and live into that lion future? And when you start to see it, you become extremely, extremely empowered. And so this is something that you want to really put a lot of thought into when it comes to finding these pictures. You have to find pictures that connect with you emotionally. Your sheep pictures need to connect with you emotionally on a negative level. They need to scare you. They need to create some fear. And then your lion pictures need to connect with you on a positive emotional level. They need to empower you and inspire you and get you really, really excited about what's actually going on in your life. And then when you have that and you print it out, I have copies of this all over the place. So you can see this was my hotel room in Thailand. So I have tons of copies of this. I put it in this like little protective thing, and I carry this around with me and tape everywhere I go, because I put this thing up everywhere I go. Because if you make it and you don't actually use it, then it's just a waste. So you've got to put it up everywhere. So you put it, you can tape it on your bathroom mirror. I had it taped on the bathroom mirror, so when I'm getting ready, I can see that I have a choice. I taped it on my door when I walked out, so I could realize, okay, I have a choice who I'm going to go be today. I also had it taped next to the TV. So when my inner sheep wanted to just lay in bed and watch Netflix all night rather than, doing something that's actually valuable, I saw that I had a choice, and it empowers me so, so much. And the bottom portion is a different kind of board that we'll talk about. But right now we're just doing your lion board, which is all about the choices. So when you print this out and you put it everywhere you can, you're just constantly reminding yourself, you're constantly reprogramming yourself to realize that you have a choice, and it becomes so much easier to make choices. Okay? So questions. What questions or comments do you have about this so far? And you can unmute yourself. Anything? Is it that simple? That easy? Okay. So what I want someone to do is I want you to share, and I want you to either tell us about the sheep picture that you might know exists, or the lion picture that you might know exists, and share with us why that's so powerful for you in either way. So whoever wants to share, you can just unmute yourself. And someone's got to do it. I
My
know all your
lion
sheets.
is from the last event we were at when I had my new suit.
Got it. And what happened at that event?
I took a picture before I left the room. What was the caption I used? Something like I was going to be a badass or whatever. And I like a suit. I like to be in a suit. I just have one that looks real nice. So,
Mm,
and the one I had previous was getting too big. So I was encouraged to dress the part. So I went ahead and did it, and I felt great that whole event.
wow. What is the emotion that you had, like when you see that picture of yourself? Like, what is the emotion that it creates inside?
Confidence.
Okay. And what are your 4 words of your lion?
Um Supportive, servant leader, calm, and courageous.
Got it. Nice. Okay, great. Yeah, and I'm actually glad that you said that, because what you wear is so incredibly powerful, especially with this philosophy, because I've talked to a lot of people about, I say every choice that you make is either coming from your sheep or your lion. One example that I use a lot of is when you get dressed in the morning. What you choose to wear every single day, your sheep is choosing it or your lion is choosing it. And that's such a powerful thing, because when you allow your sheep to choose what you wear today, you're actually what you wear has a massive impact on your mental state. When you see yourself in the mirror, how comfortable it feels, how confident it makes you feel, because it's an expression of you. It's an expression of who you are. So with what you're wearing, you're either expressing your sheep or you're expressing your lion. And so this is something that's kind of a side note, but it's super powerful. Some things that I have some people do when we do one-on-one coaching is I'll have them go through their whole closet, and I'll have them take out all of the things from their closet that come from their sheep, that make them feel bad about themselves, that make them feel not as confident or not as self-expressed, or they, bought it to try to cover something up or whatever, but it doesn't actually make them feel empowered. And you'll notice that, a lot of us, half of our clothes are clothes that we wear that come from our sheep. It's clothes that we wear just, so we don't stand out, or clothes that we wear just because it's comfortable, but doesn't actually make us feel good because we don't look that good in it or whatever it is. And so that's so, so powerful, and you can see the different clothing in my example, right? You see on the left, like I'm wearing some like crappy shirt that I got at TJ Maxx for like $5, and it has like no color, nothing. And then you look on the right, and I'm wearing this $170 like ridiculous, like pimped out, outfit with a gold chain and nice sunglasses. And you could see there's a massive difference, because what you put on creates your level of confidence. And so for me, I only own maybe 6 shirts, 6 or 7 different shirts, but every single shirt that I own, my lion picked that shirt. Like this shirt that I'm wearing right now is like crazy ridiculous, some kind of like gold, I don't even know what kind of pattern this is. And my sheep says, oh my gosh, that's way too over the top. My lion is like, hell yes, that is amazing. And so when I go into my closet, I have limited options, but all the options are lion clothing. So I know that no matter what I put on every day, it's going to make me feel good. It's going to make me feel confident, and it's going to make me feel bold. And so when I walk out the door, I walk out with my head a little bit higher. I walk out with my chest out a little bit more. I walk out a little bit more confident, and I just know I look good. And that's such an amazing thing. And when you pay attention to that on that kind of level, it starts to create energy, because when you meet people, you feel more confident. And the thing is, all of you, you're in the people business, and it's your job to get people on board, and they are judging you the moment they see you, and you are selling them the moment you see them, and you're selling them on who you are and what you believe in and what you stand for. And so when you go out there and you dress, and it doesn't have to be nice, it's just clothing that really expresses who you are. It expresses your lion. And when you do that and you feel that way, you act more like your lion, and that's what people are actually attracted to. People, they look at this outfit that I have, and they'll judge it whatever way, but when they talk to me, they can't believe the level of confidence that I have. You know, they can't believe my energy because that's what it's actually bringing out. So Charles, when you had that suit, it's like you put that on and it's like you're putting on your lion mane, you know? It's like you're putting on your lion outfit. So when you walk out there, you know, people can feel that confidence. They can feel that energy. So the more you can do that, you know, and this is for all of you, bonus homework, go through your closet and take out everything that makes you feel like a sheep and go donate it. I just got back to the US 2.5 weeks ago, and my grandpa brought me a bunch of clothes that I had, and I kept maybe 4 or 5 pieces of clothing out of like 100. And I gave the rest away because it all just didn't, none of it made me feel like a lion, didn't make me feel like a total badass. And so if you do that, it will make a massive difference in your confidence, and you'll start to see people react to you differently. So thank you. That was a long rant, but I just had to share that because it's so fresh. So, okay, great. Thank you, Charles, for sharing that. Does anyone else have a share of the picture that they know that they're going to use for their lion or their sheep? You can unmute yourself.
I have one for my sheep.
Alicia, go for it.
Hey. So it's actually it was the very first like week that I was in Herbalife. I don't know who took the picture of me. I think it was actually Blair at a local event. And I looked back on it a couple days later and I was like, holy crap, I had no idea that I looked like that. And like you could just see the level of discontent on my face. Like I was not happy with who I was. And I mean, really, I look back on that picture every now and then just to remind myself like how far I've come. Because I mean, I feel like even now I can see just how much more confident I am and all of that kind of stuff. So that's definitely the one I'm going to find.
Great. Do you know your picture of your lion that you're going to use?
Probably one of the ones from the last event. I think actually it might even be a picture that I took with Charles in his suit. But it's a picture of us together because I try to get one of me and him at like every event. And I felt awesome. Like I have these red high heels on and I look nice. I look really presentable. Like it just made me feel so good about myself.
Got it. And
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So when you had that outfit on, what was it an expression of?
I guess just like pride that I knew that I could come this far, that I have come this far. Confidence, being able to feel comfortable in what I'm wearing. You know, a lot of times, like in my sheep picture, I thought I was comfortable with what I was wearing, but you can tell that I wasn't. You know, I wasn't being myself. And then in the lion picture that I'm thinking of, I mean, you can just see a night and day difference.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, I'm excited to see that. That's part of your homework, by the way, is for everyone to post your lion boards for the world to see.
Okay.
But that's a really good point. So there's a big difference between comfort and confidence. You know, a lot of us, we wear things, our sheep wants to feel comfortable. Our lion feels confident. Our lion is not interested in comfort at all. Comfort is completely a sheep-based thing. Lions stand in confidence. And so for a lot of us, you know, a lot of things that we wear them because they're comfortable, not because they make us confident. And that's because our sheep is dictating, you know, it's choosing our outfits, it's choosing our friends, it's choosing our relationships, it's choosing so many things in our lives that it goes down to the simplest things as, you know, what it is that we're actually wearing. And so, you know, if there's a lot of things that make you feel comfortable, that's great. But it's the things that make you feel confident that actually make the biggest difference. Because everything you're doing, you're creating energy, and you're creating energy towards a negative way or towards a positive way at all times, which is so, so important that you guys are aware of that. So, okay, great. So the next person, I need one person to share on either your sheep future or your lion future, what you are going to have a picture of. Because I just want to make sure that you guys are clear on this, and that you're sharing examples so other people can get something from that as well. So anyone who's clear on either your sheep future or your lion future, you can unmute yourself and share. even if you've shared before, you can go again. But someone's got to do it. We can sit here for the next 13 minutes if we have to. But we're all back. Come on. If you haven't shared yet, click the share button, unmute yourself. Come on. Let your lion show. Anyone? Nikki, I'm looking at you. I only got
I can share.
people on my screen.
I can share.
Okay, go for it, Lisa.
I guess my sheep future would be just staying where I'm at, even when I'm succeeding, not being proud of that, being afraid to post that, being where I was. And I guess that's kind of goes in line with my sheep photo of last year, right before I started this. And when I succeeded and when I did something great at my job, I was too ashamed of my photo to even post it, even share that with anybody. And I don't want to be there again. So,
what was it about that made you feel ashamed?
I had to get up on stage at a national stylist award ceremony, and I was bigger than I'd ever been, and I didn't even recognize myself. And I just didn't feel confident and like I belonged there.
Got it. Interesting. And what kind of emotion? You have a picture of yourself there?
Yeah, I have a picture of myself on stage that I have never actually, even in my before and afters, because it was just before I started Herbalife, I didn't even post that with my before and after because I was just too ashamed of it.
Got it. And so other than shame, what's the other feeling that it creates when you look at it?
Like I didn't deserve to be there, because if I can do all this stuff with, like, I'm a hairstylist as well as an Herbalife coach, and if I can make other people beautiful but I can't do it to myself, then what am I doing telling other people what to do? Like, I couldn't be good at my job well looking like that and feeling like that.
So then what do you tell yourself? What do you say to yourself when you see that you say, there's something you say, I am blank. What is the blank that you say to yourself when you see that I am a fraud? Got it. Perfect. And for a lot of us, I'm really glad you shared that, because for a lot of us, fraudulence is one of our biggest fears, especially when it comes to having your own business. And I'm sure especially when it comes to having some kind of health business. You know, if your health isn't on point, you probably feel fraudulent on some level. And so that's so important, because, by the way, it's the same thing for me. When I look at these two, it's like, how in the world could I coach people on being the greatest version of themselves if, I'm that guy in the bottom left? There's no way. I would be a total fraud, but I look at the guy on the right, and it's like, that's what motivates me and pushes me, because I know in my heart I'm not a fraud, but my sheep will hold me back to make me look like a fraud, which will kill my confidence. And so the guy on the left is a total fraud. The guy on the right is the real deal. And so and that's why it's so important to find these pictures, because what we're doing, and you want to find the pictures that really hit you like that, like yours, Lisa, because what we're doing is we're doing a psychological process where we're linking a massive amount of pain to your sheep future and your sheep self. And we're linking a massive amount of pleasure to your lion future and your lion self. So what we're starting to do is we're starting to reprogram the wiring in your brain, so you start to think differently. And when you think differently, you feel differently. When you feel differently, you act differently. That's why this is, I promise you, one of the most powerful tools you will ever use in your life when it comes to making choices, because inherently the pain is in the images. You don't have to think about it. All I have to do is I have to look at these two images on the left. I have to look at that look in my face. I have to look at my body, what I'm wearing, and I have to look at my future. And it hits me like boom, like it's just a punch in the stomach. I don't have to do any work. I don't have to sit and visualize for 5 minutes. I don't have to ask myself a question. I don't have to do an affirmation. All I have to do is see it visually. And we process images 4 or 5 times faster than text or anything else. And so when you have these visuals, you have these images, it's that instant power. It's that instant kick you need. And that's why it's so important to have these everywhere, because you'll get that instant gut punch of like, oh my God, okay, forget it. I'm picking up the phone. I'm calling. I'm going to make this phone call, and I'm going to be bold on this call. And I'm going to be fully self-expressed. I'm just going to say what I believe in, and you see that and you take that action. And then on the flip side, you have linking the massive amount of pleasure to that. So it's like you get to avoid the pain and gain the pleasure. And I'm really hammering on the sheep side, because for most people, we are much more likely to avoid pain than we are to gain pleasure. So there's this big study done, and people are much more upset about losing $100 than they are finding $100. And so it's the same thing for this. Like, it will be much more motivating for most of you to not be your sheep than it will be to be your lion. And in the personal development world, everyone does vision boards, and they only look at the future, like the good side of it. They don't look at the bad side. But that's why so many people don't achieve their goals, and they're stuck in the personal development world, because we know psychologically that most of us are driven by avoiding pain rather than gaining pleasure. And so that's why I'm really hitting on this sheep. I want you to really, that this is about finding the pictures that make you want to throw up. If it makes you want to throw up, then heck yes, that is the best picture that you can absolutely use. If it makes you feel ashamed, great. If it makes you feel angry, great. But you want it to elicit some powerful negative emotion, because that is what is going to push you dramatically to make the choice and face your fears. It's going to push you to have the conversation, to pick up the phone, to do all those different things. Okay, great. Any other questions? We've only got 6 minutes left, or anyone else want to share about this? We spent a good amount of time on this, because other than your actual blueprint, this is going to be the most powerful tool that you will use with this whole philosophy. And once you print it out and you start putting it in different places, you will see that your choices start to change dramatically. And we'll go over more ways. Like, I'll do some videos during the week of like how you can use it, where you can put it, all that good stuff. But if there's any homework that you ever do, this is the one to do, because you can use this the rest of your life. And the last thing that I want to share about this is another reason why this is so empowering, is because when you have the picture of your lion self, so when I have a picture of me in this gold chain, I'm showing to my sheep that I've already been the most badass version of myself. I've already been the lion. I don't have to become it. I already am it. And I've already been him in the past, which means there's nothing for me to chase. I've already done it before, which means I can do it again. It's not new to me. And for all of you, being your lion, it is not new to you. It's actually natural to you. And so by having this visualization, you're constantly programming your mind, and you're constantly programming your sheep of, oh, I have been a lion. I am a lion. This isn't like some far off goal that I have to search for. It's not putting, yourself on this pedestal that you have to climb. It's not like Mount Everest. This is just going back to who you really are. And so that's why it's so important to have a picture of you, because you prove to yourself that I've already been the greatest version of myself. I already am a lion. And so it's all I have to do is tap back into that. There's nothing new that I need to do. I just need to choose to start being that person. And when I start to choose to be that person, this is the future that that person will naturally live into, effortlessly live into. These two futures, they're going to be effortless based on who you're being. If I'm being the guy on the left, it will be effortless for me to gain, 50 or 100 pounds. Effortless. I just have to be a sheep. Same thing goes for the right side. It will be effortless for me to become a speaker and to inspire millions of people, because that is my way of being for my inner lion. And so this is super powerful. There's so much psychology that goes into it. There's so much spiritualism that goes into this that we don't have. That's a whole, 2-hour call. So anyone have any questions at all about what you need to do with your lion board? And if you have questions, you guys can always reach out to me. Just send me a Facebook message. I get back to everyone within 24 hours, and we'll just go back and forth until you're clear on what needs to get done. And then once you have it done, print it out, as many copies as you can. Print out 20 copies, put it all over the place. Everywhere I lived, I had these everywhere. Like when my ex-girlfriend and I broke up and I packed all my stuff, she was like, it's so ridiculous. Everywhere I walk, I see a picture of you because you hung these stupid things everywhere. Like I literally, taped one above our bed. So the first thing that I saw when I woke up in the morning was me on the ceiling. And it's the first thing she saw. And so she ripped them all down because that just wasn't empowering for her to see pictures of me everywhere. But seriously, you want to put that everywhere, and your family's going to be like, what the heck are you doing? But the cool thing is that your family or the people in your house, they're going to start to see a difference in you, and they're going to be a little interested, like, hey, what's it? Okay, maybe I could do one of these boards because I see it's helping you and you're changing, you're doing this. So maybe I'm a little interested. And what's better than helping your family? Like, we all want to do that. So printing them out, put them everywhere. So your homework for the next week, break down your goals. So break down your goal to monthly, weekly, and daily. So what you need to achieve and the actions you need to take on a daily basis. So that's the first thing of homework. That should not take you very long. If you have trouble with this, reach out to me. The second part of your homework is to create and print out your line board. So don't obsess about the picture. It's the ones that you feel instantly. It's that gut instinct. Those are the pictures you pick. Don't obsess about it, and don't worry about what picture you pick and how other people like it. This is not for anyone else but you. So pick the pictures that resonate with you the most. And then you're going to print those out. And then the last thing, this is only for the lions in the group. The sheep definitely won't do this, but the lions, which is all of you, you're going to post a picture of your board to the group, to the Facebook page. So you're going to have it printed out. You're going to take a picture of it, or you can take a screenshot of it if it's on your computer, and you're going to post it to the group so everyone can see. And so that's very, very, very powerful, because we want to expose your sheep. We want to expose your sheep future. And you guys are so lucky you're part of a team. You are the dream team, and your lion is your dream. That's your dream person. That's your dream life. So the more you share this stuff, the more empowered you're going to be, and the more people you're going to have on your side. So that's why it's so important that you guys share this. And you don't want to keep your sheep hidden. You want to expose it. Like, I hate that all of you get to see that horrible picture of me, but it also takes a lot of the power away from my sheep because I exposed it. It's like, okay, you guys all saw it. Well, there it is. It just motivates me more to never be that person, never go back there. All right. That is it. 8 o'clock.
Can we do one step further? Can we
Yeah.
do, not only can they post a picture of your board to the group, but can they tag their mentor, and then also tag Chris? So
Go for it.
if Ashley is your mentor, tag Ashley and tag Chris. If I'm your mentor, tag me and tag Chris. So then we can have these, because I'm going to go in and keep all these and screenshot them. And when Clarissa is telling me that, that she can only get 2 people to event, I'm going to send her board and be like, okay, which Clarissa am I talking to? Sheep Clarissa or Lion Clarissa?
Oh, snap. You guys are screwed in the best way.
I love it. So one step further, not only make your board, but then take your mentor and then take Chris. So I just posted mine. That's so funny. I hadn't made one, and I didn't even know that's what I was doing. So
Yeah, and Blair, I see so many of your pictures where you show pictures of you from years ago and pictures of you now, and you can see it's just like, whoa, who is that person? And so when you guys have that for yourself, it's so incredibly empowering. And by the way, when you show this kind of stuff to your clients or the people on your team, they become so inspired. When you do this kind of work, like a lot of you reached out to me about, how do I be a better leader? How can I recruit people for my team? You do that by being the greatest version of yourself. When you start taking action in alignment with your lion, you attract lions. Sheep attract sheep, lions attract lions.
reach it.
And so when you start doing these kinds of things, because everything I'm teaching you, you can give to the people on your team. This could be a recruiting tool. You come on and I'm going to teach you this whole philosophy about being the greatest version of yourself. So not only you're going to build a business, but we're going to change your life together. So you're getting tons of value. I'm going to send you this printout of this lion and sheep thing. I'm going to teach you how to do this vision board, that you saw that I had on my phone or my computer. And that's a massive, massive recruiting tool, because people want to transform. That's one of the biggest desires we all have, is to be the greatest version of ourselves. And if you're on the path to being that, people will join your team just to be around you, just to join that journey with you. So use it, milk it.
I love it. Okay, I can't wait to see you all, lions, and all of your boards. So thank you so much. If you need support, you can reach out to me or Ashley or your mentor or sponsor. And always, I'm so excited to hear that you guys have been reaching out and using Chris to his fullest potential. Because let me tell you, it's awesome. So I'm so grateful that you guys are taking advantage of that. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for a powerful call. And I can't wait to see everything. And I'll talk to you all soon.
See ya.
Bye.